Hello Golden State Warriors fans, we are here once again to bring you the latest news related to our team, and I would like to emphasize how committed we are to improving our performance to achieve great results. Before we dive into this intriguing news, I kindly request you to show your support by clicking the like button, and if you are not yet subscribed to our channel, I invite you all to join us on an exciting journey. Remember to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything.
Warriors face tough reality. Trade partner may block Jonathan Kuminga's hopes. As the Golden State Warriors head into a pivotal offseason, one of their biggest priorities will be deciding how to handle restricted free agent Jonathan Kuminga. Whether through a sign-and-trade or by bringing him back with hopes of dealing him later, the team needs to find a way to maximize his value. But there's a twist. The Brooklyn Nets, a team projected to have around $40 million in cap space, have shown little interest in Kuminga. That might sound like a win on the surface, since it saves the Warriors from having to match a hefty offer sheet. However, it also presents a major challenge. Without serious interest from a big spending team like the Nets, Golden State loses a key leverage point for getting a strong return. And this situation becomes even more delicate considering Kuminga's mindset. The 22-year-old forward is actively seeking a bigger role and more scoring responsibility, something he clearly doesn't feel is guaranteed in Golden State. If the team can't offer that, whether on their roster or through a trade destination, tension could rise behind the scenes. The Nets' disinterest, a double-edged sword. Kuminga put up solid numbers this season, 15.3 points, 4.6 rebounds, and 2.2 assists, and looks poised to become an offensive force for years to come. That kind of upside won't come cheap. He's expected to land a 4-year deal worth around $120 million, a significant financial burden for the Warriors, and a bold move for any team willing to take the plunge. So far, the only teams loosely connected to Kuminga through rumors are the Chicago Bulls and the Miami Heat. But both have hurdles. The Bulls likely won't make a move until they sort out free agent guard Josh Giddey's future, and the Heat are reportedly focused on a potential deal for Kevin Durant, which would understandably take priority. That leaves the Nets, ironically, as the most logical sign-and-trade partner for Golden State, even if they're not currently interested. They also happen to have two players who would be ideal additions for the Warriors: center Nick Claxton and forward Cam Johnson. Either player would fill major needs on Golden State's roster, and neither Chicago nor Miami can match that level of return. On top of that, Brooklyn could offer Kuminga exactly what he wants: an open offensive system and plenty of minutes to grow into a featured role. What comes next? But if the Nets remain cold on Kuminga, and no other suitors step up, the Warriors may have no choice but to pivot and bring him back. It may not be the ideal outcome for either side, but it could be the smartest one. With time, Kuminga could still find his place within the team system, and the Warriors might yet turn today's dilemma into tomorrow's win. New developments and off-season timeline. As the Warriors navigate a critical off-season, several key dates will shape their decision on Jonathan Kuminga. The 2025 NBA Draft is approaching, and free agency opens on June 30th, with sign-and-trade deals eligible to become official by July 6th. These windows will be crucial for determining Kuminga's future. Warriors' internal strategy. Reports from local media suggest Golden State is leaning toward re-signing Kuminga, not necessarily to develop him into a core piece, but to preserve his trade value. Coach Steve Kerr still views Kuminga as a valuable role player, particularly for his defensive versatility and athleticism, but there are lingering questions about his fit in a system built around ball movement and decision-making. A case for delayed trade. Several analysts argue that a mid-season trade may be more strategic. Due to salary cap rules, trading Kuminga before December would limit the return Golden State could receive. By waiting until the mid-season window opens, the Warriors can take full advantage of his salary in matching trade deals, potentially securing a more impactful return. Financial pressure and roster implications. Golden State is already dealing with one of the highest payrolls in the league. A new deal for Kuminga, projected at around $120 million over 4 years, would further complicate their financial outlook. Given the team's aging core and limited cap flexibility, front office decisions will need to balance short-term competitiveness with long-term financial sustainability. Brooklyn's role as a trade partner. Although the Brooklyn Nets have significant cap space, estimated at $40 to $55 million, they have yet to show concrete interest in Kuminga. That said, Brooklyn remains one of the most logical sign-and-trade partners due to roster fit and financial flexibility. Two Nets players stand out as potential targets for Golden State: forward Cam Johnson and center Nick Claxton. Either would address key weaknesses in the Warriors' rotation. Johnson provides floor spacing and consistent shooting, while Claxton offers size and rim protection, both attributes the Warriors have lacked in recent seasons. These players would likely be more impactful than what Chicago or Miami could offer in a similar deal. Challenges and reactions. Brooklyn's apparent hesitation complicates the situation. Without the Nets making a strong push, Golden State may struggle to find a return package that justifies letting Kuminga go. Meanwhile, from a team culture perspective, retaining an unhappy player seeking a bigger role could create internal friction. Among Warriors fans and analysts, there's a growing belief that Kuminga may end up re-signing only to be moved closer to the trade deadline. This would give the front office time to evaluate the roster, maximize trade leverage, and avoid being pressured into a subpar deal early in the summer. Potential outcomes. If no major trade partner emerges, the Warriors may opt to keep Kuminga and continue developing him within their system. While not the ideal scenario for a player pushing for a larger role, it keeps Golden State's options open. Alternatively, a well-structured sign-in trade, possibly with Brooklyn, could bring in players who fit better around Stephen Curry and Draymond Green. Golden State's approach to Kuminga will likely reflect broader themes of this offseason, maintaining financial flexibility, upgrading the supporting cast, and positioning the team to make one final championship run in the Curry era. Warriors trade update. Avoiding a Vucevic deal could be a smart move that spurs hope among fans. Here's some news Warriors fans will be glad to hear. For months, Nikola Vucevic has been floating around in Golden State's trade rumor mill. As a two-time All-Star, his name naturally carries weight. But according to multiple insiders, the Warriors' interest in the veteran center may have been overstated all along. Despite ongoing speculation during the season, Golden State ultimately passed on a potential deal for Vucevic before the mid-season trade deadline. Now, as he enters the final year of his contract, his name has resurfaced as a possible trade target, but signs suggest the front office isn't exactly rushing to make it happen. Golden State isn't sold on Vucevic, and that might be a blessing. In recent weeks, ESPN's Kevin Pelton and Hoops Hype's Michael Scotto floated a potential trade involving Jonathan Kuminga for Vucevic. But based on new reports, the likelihood of that scenario appears slim. On a recent episode of Warriors Plus Minus, Anthony Slater of The Athletic said that any real interest in Vucevic had cooled by the trade deadline. When they were going big, chasing Jimmy Butler, and Vucevic was still on the table, the energy felt pretty cold, Slater explained. Marcus Thompson too went even further, suggesting that Vucevic was never a true favorite of the Warriors' front office. They don't really like him that much. He was just the best option available at the time, Thompson said. With the recent addition of rookie Quinton Post, who brings size and shooting, Golden State may feel less pressure to bring in another slow-footed, aging big man, especially one owed over $20 million next season. Tim Kawakami from the San Francisco Standard added, "Who's to say Quinton Post won't be as good as Vucevic in a few years?" It's a fair question, and one that suggests the Warriors may be wiser to invest time in developing young talent rather than mortgaging the future for a short-term patch. Trading Kuminga for Vucevic would be a disaster, and it looks like the Warriors know it. The growing lack of interest in Vucevic is good news for the Warriors, and even better news for fans worried about the team making a desperation move. Trading a rising star like Kuminga for a 34-year-old center on the back end of his prime could have serious long-term consequences. It's easy to imagine the headlines. Kuminga drops 25 as Bulls beat Warriors again. Meanwhile, Vucevic might struggle to stay on the floor in crunch time, offering little return on a costly gamble. This isn't to say Vucevic has no value. He could still fill a role for the right team, but it's a relief to know that Golden State isn't willing to sacrifice a key piece of its future to get him. All in all, the Warriors seem to be steering clear of a potentially disastrous move. And for a franchise looking to retool smartly, not recklessly, that's a step in the right direction. As the offseason heats up, new details have surfaced regarding the Warriors' front office plans, and how they relate to both Nikola Vucevic and Jonathan Kuminga. Trade talks continue, but Warriors stay measured. Recent reports confirm that the Warriors have explored several trade scenarios, including potential packages involving Zach LaVine and Vucevic. However, financial complications, especially Vucevic's $20 million salary for next season, combined with Golden State's desire to retain draft capital, have made the front office increasingly hesitant. Internal momentum could shift priorities. Rookie Quinton Post's emergence is also playing a role in this shift. Known for his size and shooting touch, Post has shown flashes of promise during team workouts and summer league preparation. His presence could give the Warriors more flexibility and reduce urgency in acquiring another traditional big. There's growing belief that investing in internal development, Post, Tracy Jackson-Davis, Moses Moody, Brandon Podziemski, may offer more upside than a win-now deal involving aging veterans. Kuminga remains a key storyline. At the heart of these conversations is Jonathan Kuminga. While no formal offer has been made, his name continues to come up in hypothetical trade talks. Some analysts believe the Bulls could pursue Kuminga in a package that includes Vucevic and possibly Lonzo Ball or draft compensation. Within the organization, opinions appear split. Owner Joe Lacob has gone on record with his strong support for Kuminga, emphasizing the team's desire to keep building around him. On the other hand, head coach Steve Kerr has occasionally questioned Kuminga's defensive focus and consistency, even benching him during key games late last season, raising questions about his fit in Golden State's current system. Fan base and analysts remain divided. Among fans and analysts, there's clear division. Some argue that Kuminga still has untapped star potential and should remain a cornerstone of the next Warriors era. Others point to his inconsistent performance and believe a more reliable veteran could better support Stephen Curry's remaining championship window. Vucevic, while productive offensively, presents questions defensively and may not align with the team's long-term pace and space style. Many believe that giving up a young, athletic forward like Kuminga for a slower soon-to-be 35-year-old big man could set the franchise back, both competitively and financially. This summer could define the Warriors' future. The next few months are critical. Golden State must decide whether to double down on youth, commit to Kuminga, Post, Jackson-Davis, and the next generation of talent. Make a short-term push, add a veteran like Vucevic or Levine to make one last title run with Curry. Stand pat, preserve cap flexibility, hold on to draft assets, and make smaller adjustments instead of bold moves. What's clear is that the Warriors are trying to balance the urgency of now with the responsibility of building for tomorrow. For fans, the encouraging part is that the team seems unlikely to pursue a move that would sacrifice core pieces like Kuminga without overwhelming justification. Golden State isn't just thinking about next season, they're thinking about the next chapter. ESPN floats blockbuster trade sending Giannis to Warriors, Draymond Green to Lakers. The NBA rumor mill is in overdrive, and at the center of it is none other than Giannis Antetokounmpo. With whispers growing louder about the Greek freak potentially exploring life beyond Milwaukee, rival teams are lining up, eager to pitch their case. Among the suitors, the Celtics, Mavericks, Knicks, and now, surprisingly, the Golden State Warriors. In a bold proposal that's making waves across the league, ESPN laid out a jaw-dropping 4-team trade scenario involving the Warriors, Lakers, Mavericks, and Bucks, one that could reshape the Western Conference as we know it. The deal that shakes the NBA to its core. Here's how the hypothetical megadeal breaks down. Dallas Mavericks receive Gabe Vincent, 2031 first-round pick, via Lakers, 2025 second-round pick, number 41 overall. Milwaukee Bucks receive Austin Reeves, Brandon Podziemski, Jonathan Kuminga, via sign and trade, Trace Jackson-Davis, Maxi Kleber, 2029 first-round pick, via Warriors, 2031 first-round pick, via Warriors, 2030 first-round pick swap, via Lakers. Golden State Warriors receive Giannis Antetokounmpo. Los Angeles Lakers receive Draymond Green, Daniel Gafford. This isn't just a trade, it's a seismic shift. Every team involved walks away looking radically different. And while the logistics would require surgical precision, the potential rewards could be monumental. Warriors, a dynasty in transition. Letting go of Draymond Green would mark the symbolic end of an era for Golden State. He's not just a player, he's the heartbeat of their dynasty, the defensive anchor, the emotional engine. His departure would close a defining chapter in Warriors history. But in exchange, they get Giannis Antetokounmpo, a generational talent who could extend their championship window alongside Stephen Curry. Pairing the two would instantly create one of the most terrifying duos the league has ever seen. Imagine the pace, the power, the defensive versatility. It's a gamble, yes, but one that could deliver massive returns. Of course, Golden State will have to part ways with key young assets, Podziemski, Kuminga, Jackson-Davis, players who are being groomed to carry the torch forward. But with Giannis on board, the Warriors would be all in once again. Lakers, the silent winners? In this scenario, The Lakers come out looking like strategic geniuses. Landing Draymond Green gives them exactly what they've lacked: defensive toughness, leadership, and high IQ playmaking that fits perfectly next to LeBron James. Add in Daniel Gafford, and suddenly the Lakers have an elite rim protector. Someone who can hold down the paint and take pressure off Anthony Davis, or even replace him if trade winds blow that direction. Yes, parting ways with Austin Reaves stings. He's beloved by fans and has shown tremendous growth. But the return? Proven veterans who can impact winning immediately. It's a trade-off that makes sense for a team in win-now mode. Bucks, a new chapter begins. For Milwaukee, trading away Giannis is unthinkable, until it's not. This proposed package gives them depth, youth, and draft capital, a foundation to rebuild around or use as leverage for future deals. Reaves could become a fan favorite. Kuminga and Podziemski offer serious upside. Trace Jackson-Davis is a high-energy big with two-way potential. Still, the value doesn't feel equal on paper, and that's the risk. Giannis is arguably the most dominant two-way force in the game. Can a handful of young players and future picks truly match what he brings? Some argue the Bucks should hold out for more, perhaps a centerpiece like Scottie Barnes or Alperen Sengun. But if the goal is a hard reset, this package offers versatility and long-term flexibility. Mavericks, a smart financial pivot. The Mavericks are mostly here as financial facilitators, and they play their role well. By moving Gafford and Kleber, Dallas clears space and adds Gabe Vincent, a steady playoff-tested guard. They also collect valuable future draft picks, which could be used to support their Luka-centric roster in the years ahead. It's not flashy, but it's smart. And sometimes, smart is exactly what a contender needs. A trade that could redefine the West. If this deal were to happen, its shockwaves would be felt instantly. The Warriors reload and launch into superteam status. The Lakers get tougher, smarter, and more dangerous. The Bucks begin a new era, with options galore. The Mavericks add flexibility and depth around Luka Doncic. It would also throw the Western Conference into chaos, and put pressure on teams like the Thunder, Nuggets, and Clippers to respond. Of course, for now, it's just speculation. But as we've seen time and again in the NBA, where there's smoke, there's usually fire. Media reaction and fan buzz, a league on alert. As expected, the internet exploded after ESPN's proposal hit the airwaves. Social media timelines filled with reactions, from disbelief to cautious optimism, as fans and analysts weighed in on what would arguably be one of the most consequential trades in NBA history. Lakers Nation responded with excitement and skepticism in equal measure. Many welcomed the idea of adding Draymond Green's championship experience and defensive grit, seeing him as an ideal on-court extension of LeBron James. Others, however, lamented the potential loss of Austin Reaves, a homegrown fan favorite who has proven himself in key playoff moments. Warriors fans found themselves emotionally torn. On one hand, acquiring Giannis would catapult Golden State back to the top of the title conversation. On the other, moving on from Green, the emotional leader and defensive backbone of the dynasty, feels like closing a beloved chapter. It's the type of deal that forces franchises to choose between legacy and longevity. And in Milwaukee, the reaction has been understandably more anxious. Trading a two-time MVP isn't just a basketball decision, it's a cultural earthquake. Some fans believe the proposed return isn't enough for a player of Giannis' stature, even with promising young talent in the mix. Others recognize that if the writing is on the wall, getting ahead of a potential departure might be the most strategic move. Front office pressure mounts. What makes this hypothetical trade even more compelling is the pressure each front office is currently under. The Lakers are trying to squeeze every last drop out of the LeBron James era while also preparing for the future. New head coach JJ Redick may prefer a more veteran-laden squad to implement his modern, pass-heavy system. The Warriors are facing an identity crossroads. Do they commit to a full youth movement, or try to extend Steph Curry's title window with one final superstar swing? Acquiring Giannis would send a clear message: we're not done yet. The Bucks are walking a tightrope between keeping Giannis happy and rebuilding responsibly. This trade signals a potential pivot, a strategic move to retool now rather than risk losing their star for nothing later. And the Mavericks? They've already made bold moves to surround Luka Doncic with talent. This one would give them financial flexibility and future picks to continue building smartly around him. The domino effect. What happens next? Should a trade of this magnitude actually happen, the ripple effects will be felt across the league, both on and off the court. Oklahoma City, Denver, and Minnesota, the current powers in the West, would be forced to re-evaluate their rosters. Do they make a move to keep pace with this new Warriors super team or revamped Lakers squad? Small market teams may begin reconsidering how they manage superstar talent long-term. If Milwaukee can't hold on to Giannis despite building around him for years, what does that mean for other teams banking on loyalty? Future free agency moves would become even more dramatic. With Golden State and Los Angeles becoming destination hotspots again, veterans looking for rings could flock to either coast, creating a power imbalance that echoes the super team era of the late 2010s. Could this actually happen? While the ESPN proposal is purely speculative at this stage, insiders believe it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility. Giannis has made cryptic comments in the past about wanting to win wherever that may be, and Milwaukee has already experienced the bitter loss of Drew Holiday and coach Mike Budenholzer in recent seasons. Golden State, meanwhile, has always been aggressive when stars become available. Remember the Kevin Durant saga? If they believe Giannis is even remotely gettable, they'll explore every avenue. And the Lakers? They're always in the mix. Rob Pelinka has shown he's willing to take big swings when championships are on the line. Final thoughts: a trade that changes everything. If this blockbuster trade were to actually go through, it would fundamentally shift the balance of power in the NBA. It would mark the official end of the Warriors dynasty as we know it, and perhaps the birth of a new one. It would supercharge the Lakers in their twilight run with LeBron James. It would signal Milwaukee's decision to retool rather than reload. And it would quietly empower Dallas to remain flexible and dangerous. Deals like this don't come around often. But if the stars align, literally and figuratively, we could be on the brink of the most game-changing off-season move in years. Stay tuned. The summer just got a whole lot more interesting.